Alright, what's Gucci with the veterans, military? Today we're going to be talking about how veterans mess up VA disability claims right after you hit submit, as well as you're building that medical evidence. These are some common mistakes veterans and military do when it comes to the VA disability claims process and when it comes to trying to get VA disability benefits. Let's get into it. The first thing is shitty medical evidence. What does shitty medical evidence looks like? It looks like no in-service complaints, no continuity of care right now, and veterans, maybe they have a personal statement or two, but mainly that personal statement is compiled of medical literature, scholarly notes, motherfucking medical studies and stuff like that. Yeah, all this is good. All of this is good for, if you're trying to boost the claim up. However, if you have no medical evidence, if you have no doctor endorsing your disabilities and backing up their opinion with those scholarly notes, with those opinions, with that medical literature, it's not going to go anywhere. It's just you trying to self-diagnose yourself and try to justify it to the VA in order to possibly get into the system, get some VA disability, get some benefits. Cool, that's all good. However, many veterans fail. Many veterans. I got a buddy of mine. He tried to do the same thing with sleep apnea. Failed. He didn't really have any good medical evidence, no in-service complaints. He just had a diagnosis of sleep apnea and a CPAP machine. Why? Because that's really the only criteria you need to get service connected. However, veterans are lacking, okay, how is it connected to your military service? Yeah, you put medical literature, scholarly notes, case studies that was done on veterans have a high likelihood of having sleep apnea, but your medical evidence doesn't show how you have sleep apnea. It doesn't show any of that. Yeah, it shows that you have a diagnosis. It shows that you may require or you have the recommended use of a CPAP machine, but it doesn't show when was the onset of sleep apnea. When did it start? The next part, the lack of sufficient treatment, common day continuity of care, going in with your doctor, not using the CPAP machine. It's not necessarily the criteria needed to get service connected. However, when veterans are trying to build that medical evidence to justify either direct service or secondary service for sleep apnea, for example, you got to show that causation if it's secondary. You got to show when did it start in the military. When did it start? First deployment, your seventh deployment? Did you have any buddies that can attest to your issues, your symptomology occurring during your military time in service? Yes? Okay, cool. That's good medical evidence. You got lay statements. You got buddy statements. Your personal statement is well articulated. You got a diagnosis from in-service. Okay, cool. But majority of veterans do not have that. So fast forward to today, 2024, you got veterans still trying to seek service connection for sleep apnea with no medical evidence besides a diagnosis and a CPAP machine. Okay, cool. Where are you going to plug it? You just can't throw it at the wall. The VA is not going to, that's not going to fly with the VA, especially with all these proposed changes coming out to the schedule of rating. Okay, cool. They're trying to make it harder for at least sleep apnea and mental health because those are two of the hardest hitting VA disability ratings. Sleep apnea for 50%, mental health, the sky's the limit. 100% permanent total, baby. Some veterans get 100% permanent total on mental health alone. I know of one veteran who got 100% permanent total for sleep apnea alone. And he went in, he did an in-study. He did an in-VA medical facility sleep study for sleep apnea. He went in 30 minutes into his into his sleeping routine. They connected everything to apparatus to his chest, all the devices, everything needed to evaluate and test his level of sleep apnea. And it wasn't 30 minutes into him sleeping, the doctors at the VA medical facility, they woke him up. They're like, "Hey, dog, it ain't about to happen right here, dog. Hey, you got it. It's severe. We're gonna compensate you." And he wasn't even in the VA disability claims process. What was he? He just went in because his wife said he was having, more symptoms at night, increased symptoms at night. She was concerned. He went inside. He took care of business. Came out 100% permanent total, as well as with all the bells and whistles. You know what I'm talking about? So that's a good lead to medical evidence. He was building it. He was building it. He was already service-connected. I think it was at like 80% total VA disability rating. But he was still complaining specifically about sleep apnea. When he was initially rated for it, they gave him 0%. Why? Not too sure, but he had a 0%. And then over the course of the next 9 to 12 months, he was building medical evidence. He was always in with the VA. You know, he had this detailed, articulate, personal statement written by his wife. He had a coworker as well. That's good. Supervisor as well. You know, he was a supervisor himself, but he had all this good medical evidence, all this lay statements, buddy statements. He didn't even provide a personal statement himself, because his medical evidence and the eyewitness testimony of those around him, from his spouse, co-workers, they saw his severe level of symptoms when it came to sleep apnea. Okay, cool. There you go. And then another thing that veterans are doing that's really out of pocket, you know, I'm talking about out of pocket when it comes to at least trying to get service connected, trying to build that medical evidence, is same thing with the medical evidence. Like, they just look online for doctors who can provide them with a DBQ or a Nexus letter. Infamous. You know what I'm talking about? But if you got out in 2009, you had no in-service complaints. Fast forward to 2024, if you just went to one of these pay-to-play doctors and got a DBQ and a Nexus letter, that's cool. That may get you in. But for the average VA rater, they're going to look at that. They're going to look at the lapse in between, the gap in between the time you got out, maybe 1 or 2 complaints since 2005 up until today. It's not going to work. I'm like, yeah, you got this, and that. You may have a diagnosis because you went in, you expressed yourself during that, you know, like I was talking about the other day with the PTSD. Veteran was denied multiple times. When it came to trying to get service connected for PTSD. Yeah, they had a diagnosis. Yeah, their stressor was identified. However, through multiple CMP exams, this veteran has been given multiple chances, opportunities to talk about what it is, what was the event in which his PTSD had its occurrence. And the stories always change. He gave a little bit, he gave it more, but it was never consistent. The VA couldn't pinpoint between what he submitted, what his therapist was saying and documenting, and what the CMP examiners through multiple, you know, he was at least having 2 CMP exams per VA disability claim that he did, that he's trying to get service connected for PTSD and stuff like that. But, you know, this is some of the issues that veterans are going, that, you know, these are some of the issues that veterans and military are dealing with when it comes to what is a good foundation for a VA claim. It's not going to be medical literature, contact notes. It's not going to be none of that, you know, spark notes and stuff like that. No, it's going to be complaints. Did you, if it was serious enough for you to complain while you was active duty, for all of majority of veterans, they're claiming direct service disabilities, then you would have a record of it occurring sometime in the military. What fucks up veterans when they get out, they realize, oh, I can get paid for this. I can get compensated for my injuries. But, yo, I did 20 years active duty service. I retired, and I have no medical evidence to support any of that. What am I going to do now? I'm going to go to one of these, you know, motherfucking shark agencies and see if they can hook it up. Hey, there are some veterans who slip by the cracks, and hopefully in the future, the VA will identify those veterans, especially those who just build medical evidence to get service connected, to get compensated. Yeah, cool. You may have severe back issues, severe IBS, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're not maintaining continuity of care, that's a good opportunity for the VA to be like, okay, well, is this VA claims fraud? Because obviously you only came in once, only a little bit before you submitted the claim, maybe, high maybe, if you did during the claim, because not a lot of veterans do. They just hit submit and hope for the best, wait until their CMP exams, whatever the case may be. But, hey, get better, build medical evidence the right way, so you don't have to worry about the VA coming for you, you know, them black coming for you, you know, they got the goon squad. No, you ain't got to worry about none of that. All you got to do, take your ass to medical, Be good. Be Gucci. Personal statement. Hey, that's it. Hey, y'all like this type of content? Let your boy know. This motherfucking Debo out.